Hello, and welcome to the Global Studies News Network. I'm your host, Chris Getchell. Our top story tonight. We are sad to report the loss of famed actor Frosty the Snowman. It appears Frosty became enraged on the set of his latest movie project and had a complete meltdown. He was a puddle. Sadly, some of his entourage continued to try to sponge off him. More at 11. And now today we'd like to talk about culture. And I don't mean yogurt. Let's take a look.
I want to take a few minutes to talk about the 7 elements of culture. Culture, as we define it, makes up everything in a person's way of life. So all the things that make up you are your culture. And culture affects the way you live, the things that you believe, the way you dress, what you listen to, what you read, who you support, how you worship, your traditions. All of these things are part of your culture. Every little thing you do is part of your culture. There are 7 basic elements that define culture. The first one is social organization, okay? So in social organization, we're thinking, how are we organized, okay? Our society is usually organized into smaller groups. So, and it's not just one group that you're a part of. You can be part of many groups. Most commonly, there's, of course, your family group, and then there's friends, possibly religious group or social classes. Your job can be one of your organized groups. Things you're interested in can be one of your groups. Maybe it's a team, maybe it's the Scouts, maybe it's dance, maybe it's choir. I mean, there's just so many ways and so many different groups that you may be a part of. Usually, if you're part of a group, you have something in common with those people. The most common form, and probably the most important, is, of course, your family. There's the nuclear family, the people that you live with. And, it could be defined in many ways. Maybe you're part of, one household. Maybe you're part of 2 households that you consider your nuclear family. There's no right or wrong. It's just part of your culture. And then there's extended family. Sometimes, grandparents, aunts and uncles. Sometimes some of those extended family live in your nuclear household. Sometimes they don't. You just go visit them, but they're still part of your family. And your family probably has the most influence on your personal culture. Another thing about social organization is sometimes it can rank people in order of status. Um, it could have something to do with money or your job or how you're educated or your race or possibly your religion. Some cultures place more emphasis on that than others. So look for that as we look around the globe at different cultures. How do um, the cultures we're looking at organize their social classes? The second type of culture is customs and traditions. These are rules and behaviors that are written and unwritten. So, for example, um, in the United States, we have certain rules if we're going to drive on the road that we need to follow, okay? Um, but also there's things, for example, well, up until COVID, when you would greet someone, shaking hands is sort of was the unwritten rule for greeting somebody. In Asia or Japan, especially, instead of shaking hands, you bowed to the other person. That's an unwritten rule. There's no law that says you have to do that. It's an unwritten rule. So when you go to another country, you need to learn what the unwritten rules are, and because if you're gonna, learn how the cultures work in that country. The third element of culture is language. It's important for communication and passing on traditions. Um, some cultures have only spoken language. Some have spoken and written. Um, many countries have an official language. The United States does not. Um, Although many people would say English could be considered the official language, it's not the official language. There's been debate over the years about whether the United States should have an official language. Right now, it does not. The fourth element is arts and literature. Um, Arts and literature can teach you a lot about a culture's values. Um, it can promote pride and unity. Today, especially, it can include technology and entertainment. You know, a lot of people around the world, will watch TV or movies and think they're getting a taste of the culture of another country. Um, but not only that, but the music, the literature, the things you read and do, all of those arts and literature are a huge piece of a country's culture. The fifth element is religion. Um, there's many religions around the world. The major ones that we'll see as we look around the world are Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, and Buddhism. Um, Two words to remember in religion are monotheism and polytheism. Monotheism simply means that the religion believes in one God, and polytheism means the religion believes in more than one God. Christianity does believe in one God. Hinduism believes in more than one God, but uh, all those gods are still part of one spirit. So, when we'll talk about that a little bit when we get there. The sixth element is government. Um, how do people, organize themselves and provide, the basic needs for their citizens? We learned in Unit 1 the three types of government are autocracy, oligarchy, and democracy. Of course, in the United States, we have a representative democracy. And the seventh element of culture is economic systems. And like we talked about in the first unit, uh, we have traditional market and command. And on this list, we've also added mixed. And if you wanted to be truthful about the United States, a lot of people say, well, the United States is a market economy. We really have a mixed economy because, yes, we believe in capitalism. We believe in entrepreneurial spirit of people starting their own businesses. But there are still some government regulations in place to keep the economy rolling. So there's certain rules you have to follow. In a true market economy, the government would not be involved at all, and it would simply let supply and demand drive the market. All right, that's the seven elements of uh, culture. It's now your turn to create your own slideshow, and be sure to use the slideshow template when you do that. And make sure when you're done, you hit the submit button. Don't share it, hit the submit button. Sharing it can get lost. Submitting it puts it with this class in the right folder. All right, good luck.
That was fantastic. Don't forget to complete your slideshow for today. And that's all for today. Good day and good news.